from the S.STREET Media headquarters here in New York City, borderlining the boroughs of Queens and Brooklyn, brings you another episode of The Real Leel Show, where I will give my unique takes on the latest news on your favorite sports and pop culture. Subscribe to the channel at S.STREET Media, S.STREET Media, once again, S.STREET Media, and subscribe to my channel at Real Leel Sports so you can get caught up to date on your latest news on your favorite sports. Y'all know how I do, and y'all know how I rock. Today, we have a very special guest on this show via call-in interview, the Professor Griff, from one of the greatest rap groups of all time and one of the most influential rap groups of all time, Public Enemy. Now, Public Enemy was very influential on not only the black community, but in the world. Fight the Power was amongst the great songs made by this group. So I'm going to get Professor Griff on the line, and we're going to break down the latest news and controversial topics in the pop culture world. So I'm going to get him on the line right now. But anyway, once again, subscribe to the channel at Real Leel Sports. In the meantime, once again, at Real Leel Sports. And follow my Instagram at real.leel_. Professor Griff? What's happening, my brother? How's it going?
Yeah, bro, you had about another 3 minutes and you was about to get
My fault, brother. But you can hear me? Everything's good?
Excuse me?
Everything's good? You can hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. I'm like,
All right, we're about to get this show on the road right now. I want to thank you for being a part of the Real Leel Show. And we're going to get right into it. I got a couple questions for you, my brother. And I want to know with... Hello? Yeah.
so you're already online?
Yeah, I'm on live right now.
Yeah, I'm an old school dude. You gotta let me know that, bro.
My fault, brother.
I'm sitting here waiting for you to call me to give me the heads up. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my fault, brother.
Hold on 1 second, man.
I got you. While we on hold, we going to...
All right, I'm ready.
All right, my brother. Once again, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. And, I want to ask you a couple questions. Some topics, in the pop culture and sports world that's related to controversial topics that's going on in society. Obviously, 2018 struck us with a lot of, news and controversial topics, but we can't go through all of them, obviously, because we would spend a whole, day doing that. But there's a select few that I want to get into right now with you. And before I do that, I want to know about you and Public Enemy and how did y'all initially form? Because before I called you, I gave a little introduction about who you are and the group that you was a part of and how it was one of the most influential rap groups of all time. How did this group came about?
Well, Public Enemy initially came about when I think Def Jam offered Chuck D a recording contract, and then Chuck, being an avid student, an avid listener of music, was connected to myself and Flavor. I was connected to the brothers that formed the S1Ws. Chuck and Flavor used to work together. But even prior to that, we had a unit called Spectrum City. Myself, Wizard KG, Hank Shockley, Bomb Squad. So we was a mobile DJ unit, and Tim Chuck was part of that also. After we already had formed. So that was the basis really to Public Enemy. But Public Enemy came as a result of Chuck D orchestrating and putting the pieces together. Public Enemy. So you got the first time a group of producers are coming together to produce. The first time a minutes of information. The first time a DJ that never talked, he only used his hand. One of the first times the introduction of a hype man. You understand what I'm saying? In hip hop. So, yeah, basically that's kind of, time we got together.
Wow, that's very interesting. And were you a hip hop fan prior to entering the industry? And if so, who were your favorite MCs or groups coming up?
Nah, at that time, you talking early on, man. I could probably mention some. You familiar with the Cold Crush?
No, no, not really, but
Yeah,
those
so it's
one.
hard for me to answer that question for your listeners, man. So yeah.
Yeah, I got you. But you were a fan entering the industry. You were that you was, and that and
I you say?
sorry, repeat that.
What did you say?
So you were a fan prior to entering the industry, because some people that join hip hop, very few, they not fans of hip hop or they never listen to it, but
Well,
they join.
yeah, you. I think you're a lot younger than I am. We never even used that language, bro.
Got
Either
you,
you was in hip hop or you weren't. It wasn't no fan thing. You just did the damn thing.
got you,
Everybody wrote graffiti and break game. Everybody, you understand what I'm saying? So it wasn't. You had to be a fan of it. Nah, we didn't even use that language.
got you. So my thing is that me personally, I'm more of a hip hop historian. I do go back. I ain't go way back to the group that you just mentioned, but I do go back, and I realize that I actually gravitate more to the old school hip hop more than I do now. Obviously, hip hop has changed over the course of the years. We all know about that. But me personally, I gravitate more towards old school hip hop because I felt like old school hip hop had more of a meaning to the music. It wasn't just about drugs and discriminated against females or gangs. It was more of it had a message. But people that are born these days, they don't know nothing about old school hip hop. And do you think that they should listen to old school hip hop to get a feel of how it even started, or do you think that's like an issue?
I mean, my thing is, I think what they should probably do, I think they should probably listen not only to the music, but listen to the brothers that's out there teaching it. You understand what I'm saying? Hip hop is in colleges now. You understand what I'm saying? Hip hop is online. It's the evolution of hip hop. I've seen a couple of documentary films. There's at least 12 documentary films that are out there talking about hip hop, giving the history of hip hop. So the information is out there, man. It's just that the people coming up in this generation need to take time just to kind of dive into it. So the information is out there. The evolution of hip hop. I think I saw 3 or 4 segments of it on Netflix. You understand what I'm saying? There's cats that's teaching it
Right.
in the universities, in college. It's I teach it wherever I go.
And you're right about that.
Well,
I actually,
in order to respect it, yeah, you got to understand the theory. You got to understand the history. You got to know the players, the founding fathers of it, the elements. Yeah, there's books upon books that are out. I'm sitting in front of a few of them. Black Dot's book, Hip Hop Decoded. My book, Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. Siddiqui Bakari got a book out. There's a book out, Bakari Kiswana, The Hip Hop Generation. There's books out about different record labels. Man, That's the Joint. Nation Conscious Hip Hop, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Jeff Chang. Chuck D got a book out, This Day in Rap and Hip Hop History. So there's a lot of information that's out, man. It's whether or not people are going to go and do the history, man.
I get exactly what you're saying. The age of social media, YouTube, you have all this information that people could actually take the time to look up. There's certain things that I never knew about, and with the age of technology, yes, there's a lot of negative things on it, but you can also learn from it. And I really feel that people who listen to hip hop now, especially the younger generation, they will be able to do the research. And you all right about that, about colleges teaching hip hop, because I actually took a hip hop course last semester while I was in school, and I learned a lot in that class. So I really agree with you that people should definitely take the time to listen to hip hop and see how it started and the founding fathers of it, and the message that it was back then. But now it seems like new artists that are coming up. For example, Tekashi 6ix9ine. You have all these new rappers.
Wait, okay, you said new artists that are coming up?
Yeah, new artists that are coming up. New artists that is in the game right now.
Okay.
They are. It seems like they're not taking advice from the previous greats, the OGs, but rather disrespecting them. For example, you have rappers that claim to be better than Tupac. You have Fat Joe, who explained to Tekashi 6ix9ine that you got to calm down before you get in trouble because it's not going to end well for you. But he didn't listen to him. Do you have an issue, or do you think that new rappers should take advice from the greats and pay homage to them? Because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be in the position that they are today.
Yeah, they have no other choice, man. They really don't. They think because they're making a few dollars that they think the road is going to be paved in gold for them, and it's not, simply because it's secular, man. Just like they're disrespecting us, the next generation coming up under them and behind them are going to disrespect them. You follow what I'm saying?
Got you.
So we have to understand, man, and it's a beautiful thing that we someone kicked the door down for us. You understand what I'm saying? And we gave them respect. Every time I do an interview and I talk about hip hop, I have to mention at least one, maybe two, or maybe all 5 or 6 of the founding fathers. You got to talk about those groups that came up and laid the foundation. You got to talk about Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You got to talk about Kool Moe Dee. You understand what I'm saying? You got to lay the base, and you got to. How can you not mention the women in hip hop? How could you not mention even African Bambaataa? How could you not mention these things and you call yourself a hip hop head or a rapper today? Yes, it's unheard of. That's like you trying to be a quarterback and you never mention Joe Namath or Favre or any of these cats that came up doing the damn thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And speaking of women in hip hop, all right, so I had a conversation with my friend, and we he brought up something about Nicki Minaj and how he felt that Nicki Minaj is jealous of Cardi B because of Cardi B's reign as a female artist right now in the game. But my response to him was because I realized that in hip hop, it seemed to have, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but in my estimation, the way how I see things and put things together, it seems like there's only one female at a time that are popping in hip hop instead of multiple. Like how you see with the men, you will have different rappers that are popping at the same time. But with females, it seems like there's only one. There can only be one based on what I picked up. Do you think it's set up the same way that how I see it? And is there a reason for it that you may think that is a reason for it? Like, how do you view that? Hip hop only having one popping female at a time.
Well, who set that rule? Who set that in motion? They set that in motion when they formulated and made up and made up this diva program. Everybody wanted to be a diva. Everybody wanted to be the baddest bitch. Everybody wanted to be this, that, and the other. And it's like, wow, no, why can't there be multiple women and female groups and female artists on the scene? I think they did that because, they only wanted one person on the scene. They didn't want multiple people on the scene talking about multiple different things. The whole idea of the solo artist, that's been in music for a long time, man. You understand what I'm saying? So the whole idea of sticking together is indicative and reflective of the black family and the black community. It's hard for us to stick together. So I'm just saying to you, what was wrong with back in the day when Salt and Pepper was out? MC Lyte was out. Queen Latifah was out. You understand what I'm saying? The Boss was out. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Soleil was out. So, yeah, and then even when Soleil was out, Soleil took 3 or 4 women on the road with her. There could be more than one, man. That's like saying there could only be one MVP player in the NFL.
Yeah,
Nah, man. Nah.
yeah, it seems like that because it seems like now in this current generation of hip hop and regarding the females, it seems like they either have beef with each other or they have a diss track to one another. It doesn't seem like right now that two females or more than two females could be just hot at the same time.
Why not? I'm asking you a question. Why not?
I
You
honestly,
got a radio show. Where you do your radio show at YouTube?
yeah, on YouTube.
Well, I'm on YouTube too. So both of us can be on YouTube.
Yeah, we definitely can.
It can only be one. That's foolishness. That's childish, man. That's so immature. And then people be manufacturing these beefs, and sometimes these beefs spill over outside of the music industry, and you end up with the death of Tupac. You end up with the death of Biggie. You end up with the death of a few people in music. Why? R&B artists never kill one another. Jazz artists didn't have no beef with one another and go out and kill one another. So it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like hip hop should be an art form in which people can provide for their families and make their money and be together. But that's always not the case. In hip hop.
I think it's giving a simple, more practical example. You used to eat at McDonald's, right?
Yeah,
Everywhere you see a McDonald's, guess what? You see a Burger King and a Wendy's and a Kentucky Fried Chicken, right or wrong.
you're right.
Because they don't give a fuck where McDonald's set up at. They setting up right across the street or right next door. Because everybody that don't go to McDonald's is going to them other spots, right or wrong.
Right.
McDonald's got the Big Mac. Burger King got the Whopper. Wendy's got them square-ass, raggedy-ass hamburgers. Yep.
Yep.
So that's just real, man. There could be more than one fast food on one block, right?
Yeah, and that's a good example. That's a good example right
All right.
there. That's an excellent example right there. The next topic I want to talk about, and so far I definitely agree with everything that you said, and but this is
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change that because I don't want you to agree with everything I say.
got you.
I really don't. It wouldn't even be fair to your listeners that if you agree with everything, help just disagree with the tone of my voice, something.
Got you. So what?
Disagree love because it shows we human. It shows we real.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to disagree, but I'm saying sometimes when I listen even to my elders, in my mind I be disagreeing like a mug, but when I get home, I have to put it under the microscope and say, okay, he was right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So what are your thoughts on the black community and how they still support Kanye West? Because Kanye West earlier this year called slavery a choice. And you have Kim Kardashian now and Kanye going to the White House fighting for prison reform. So I'm going to break it down because this is actually a two-part question. But I'm going to give you the first question. What are your thoughts on the black community still supporting Kanye West?
I don't understand the last part of your question. How do I feel about what?
How do you feel about Kanye West and the black community still supporting him after saying slavery was a choice?
Where did you get this idea and this notion that the black community is supporting this dude?
Well, the majority of the black community that I know of, I see people, they still support him and they still support his music.
Yeah, you and I must operate in two totally different circles.
No, I'm just basically telling you, what I see from my counterparts, basically, because I know I don't support Kanye West, and I'm pretty sure other people that are smart wouldn't do the same thing after what he said. So
I can't answer that question, bro.
Got you.
I really can't. I'm stumped because I ain't support this dude before he went to the White House. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The next question here. So in the NBA, right? You have a couple stars such as Kyrie, Irving, and Curry, who recently came out. Kyrie Irving came out talking about he believed that the Earth is flat. Curry came out and talked about the moon landing was fake. And those statements seem to gain so much criticism and attraction instead of other issues in the world. Why do you think that is, in your opinion, or, give your take on it?
Well, I really don't like to tell people and give answers about how I feel or my opinion. I really don't do that. If you've ever listened to any of my shows or what I do, I don't do that. I try to come from an actual fact perspective, and through my little lens, I think that the powers that be give these dudes these $1 million contracts, and it's almost like shut up, nigga, and play basketball. The book, The $40 Million Slave, talks about that. Shut up and play football. You can't make political statements. You can't make religious statements. You can't even think. Be quiet. Put the uniform on. All right? When the horn sounds, first quarter, go do your thing. This is what we're paying you for. So it's almost like athletes and boxers and entertainers and sports players are not allowed to think, so to speak. They have a perspective and a point of view. Why can't they talk about it? You see, but they're not getting paid to talk about that. They're getting paid to play sports. So when Kyrie Irving comes to talk about flat Earth, which I don't understand that madness, but some more Christopher Columbus shit, they don't value it. You understand what I'm saying? They just don't value it at all. And they should, because way beyond basketball, he's still a human. Way beyond basketball, he's still a dad. Way beyond basketball, he's still a thinker. He still has a perspective. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I hear you, my brother. LeBron James, to follow up what we just talked about, LeBron James also recently made a post on Instagram saying in the caption, "I've been getting that Jewish money," and that also caught a lot of flack. But recently, in his show, his HBO show, The Shop, he said that the NFL owners have a slave mentality. Do what the F we tell you to do before we get rid of y'all. So a lot of people are saying, I watch a lot of shows, a lot of podcasts, and a couple people are telling LeBron James to be careful. Me, I personally respect the fact that he is using his platform to speak out, even if it's a little something. Do you feel the same way, that we should respect the fact that he's using his platform to speak out, or is it his obligated right to, since a lot of us look up to him, a lot of us young people look up to LeBron James?
Well, just to answer your question directly, yeah, I wholeheartedly in agreement with you. And I do, quote, unquote, feel that way. I don't normally answer questions about how I feel, bro. But, yeah, I think LeBron James is doing the best that he can do in the position that he's in. And the statements that he's actually making and putting out there are very factual statements that we can go beyond LeBron James and we can go look these things up. It's not difficult. Not only do the players, in some cases, have a slave mentality, the owners of the teams have a slave master mentality. Yes, so I wholeheartedly agree with LeBron James. But then again, they gave him $150 million, the Lakers. Shut up, nigga, and play basketball. That's their thinking. He said it right. That's their attitude. We don't care how many schools you build. We don't care what you do. Long as every now and then we put you in a Sprite commercial where you can kiss the little baby, the little white boy, or you can have some silly rapper in it, or whatever. Yeah. Do what we tell you to do, or we'll get rid of you. Now, with that said, for the people that are listening, go back and see how many people that the NFL and the NBA got rid of. How many times the NHL player, the black hockey player, which was a dynamite player, got called nigger? Ask some soccer players that play on some of these teams around the world how many times they threw bananas on the field, making monkey noises. Shut up, nigga, and play. That's the mentality. That's the attitude.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's why I often take the time to to give my respect to Colin Kaepernick, who took a knee on the 49ers, and we all know about that famous Nike ad commercial. I do believe 100% that Nike made that ad from a profit perspective, not for bringing what he did to light. It was basically money, profit, because the Nike in general benefited from it. But one thing I would say is,
I think that's why Nike's in business. Nike's in business to make money. Nike is not in business to support radical, militant people that want to protest. That's not why Nike started their company. Nike started their company to make money. Nike had Colin Kaepernick under contract already. So if the board members decided we're going to put this ad out at this particular time, smart move, brilliant. If I was there at Nike, I'd have made the same move. But go on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But yeah, so I do believe that what Kaepernick did was good. But there's some people out here based on what I heard. It's not a proven fact, but from based on what I heard, a couple of shows that I watched, there's some people that actually believe that Colin Kaepernick did what he did for publicity, which is I totally don't agree with that. But there's some people that believe what he did was for publicity, because he would gain all this attention. And do you look at people? Go ahead.
Okay, but what's wrong with that?
I mean, I just don't believe that my personal belief, like I said, they have the right to think what they want to think. But in my personal belief, I just don't see how somebody could, lose a job like that and it all be for show. I just don't agree with that. But that's my personal belief. But that's how people, think. Some people think.
Yeah, that is coming from a mind that I'm trying to understand every single day, man. Those kind of questions. I don't even understand the mind that formulate those kind of questions. It's like, that should make me want to curse, man. I'm somebody's granddad. You understand? It's almost like you want to say, man, just shut the fuck up. It's like, what kind of dumbass question is that? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's like, bruh, you goddamn right. He took a stand. He protested like John Carlos and Tommy Smith. They threw their fist in the air. They knew goddamn well that people was going to come against them, and they may lose everything. But so fucking what? Sometimes you got to put principle over everything. Like in these rap battles, it's bars over everything, right or wrong.
Right.
Okay, that's how they win it in it. Plain and simple. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about, well, I feel in my beliefs and blah, 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 blah. Man, please, man. Please, bro. Until you and everybody else like us get in that position to take a bold stand like that to shake up the world, then and only then will we truly, really know. You understand what I'm saying? So you damn right. I would get publicity out of it. I would get contracts that hell. If they gave me $65 million, the whole bunch of shit I'd be doing. I ain't putting on no goddamn dress now. I ain't carrying no man purse and shit, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd bring the pain too, shit. But my thing is, no disrespect to you and your people, but has anybody ever answered those questions by saying to them same people, wait a minute, but what's the reason why he's taking a knee? Let's go over that stuff. That's more important than getting his right knee dirty and shit, right or wrong.
Right.
So why don't we ever talk about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I would say this too. For the people that said that he took a knee to disrespect the flag, we all know that's not true. But I believe that's coming from a racist perspective for those people, especially, quote unquote white people. A lot of them said that he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting America and the troops. But I mean, we all know about the history of the American flag, so we could go into depth in that another day. But you know how it is. But do you think it's coming from a quote unquote racism on why you think a lot of people, especially quote unquote white people, would say that Colin Kaepernick did what he did to attack the flag?
Well, I got $100 for every point that they prove. My phone number is 678-557-2919. They can't prove these things that they're saying. How's he disrespecting the flag? I've looked up the codes on how we should handle the flag. White people disrespect their own codes. You understand what I'm saying? How do you disrespecting the troops? Colin Kaepernick said, I'm taking a knee in protest. Well, first he just sat down. There was a white dude, a veteran, that suggested that he kneel and pray. A white dude who was a veteran in the military who suggested that he do this. You understand what I'm saying? So how are you disrespecting the troops? I don't understand. My little ass was in fucking 6th grade telling my German white 6th grade teacher to kiss my black ass. I'm not standing up for no motherfucking American singing no goddamn Pledge of Allegiance. Fuck that flag. And fuck you too, cracker. That was me when I was in 6th grade. They called my mom to the school. My mom said, if you don't get your ass, you understand what I'm saying? But I wasn't going for it. I'm not singing the Star Strangled Banner. I'm not putting my hand over my heart. Nope. I remember one time I was at a game somewhere in high school when they asked everybody to stand. I grabbed my dick. Fuck them.
Yeah, it's crazy because, you know.
That was an awkward silence, bro.
Nah. Nah, but that's crazy because, just like you alluded to, he basically said what he was doing. First of all, he took his stance peacefully. He didn't even say nothing about it until he was asked. And then when he was asked, he said why he took the stance. And then it felt just like, you know, over time, people just started trying to change the narrative about what he did and why he did it. And the man clearly stated.
I think you're asking these questions, and they're very good questions. But I think that generation that's asking these questions, man, I think a lot of these people just don't read, bro, to be honest with you. They just don't.
Yeah.
Because these questions are like very good questions. I like the way you formulated them. But it's like, who's going to listen to this? It's like, okay, y'all, it's easy. Y'all could have easily read about this because there's other people in history. Muhammad Ali and other people that have taken a stand. Many Muslims have been in the NBA have taken stands. Many athletes on many levels. So this is not new news. This is old news.
You're totally right about that. Bringing up Muhammad Ali, that's an ideal point. You know, all these things are points, and it just goes back to what we said in the beginning, how there's history with everything that's going on now with hip-hop and sports that people could just, you know, take the time to go back and see the greats and see the people that actually did pave the way for people to do what they're doing now, basically. So
Right. If I hear something on YouTube, even if I hear it on your channel, I can't take that and run with it. I got to say, wait a minute, man. The brother's deep. He's a good interviewer. He's laying some information out on his channel. But I got to take what you said and go study, right or wrong.
Right.
Because it has to be factual. And then I got to cross-reference. Young people today, that generation right behind me, they're listening to stuff on YouTube and they're taking it for face value. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not good, man. Not good, bro.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this last topic I want to get into.
We got to hurry up. I got about 5 more minutes, bro.
All right, we're going to speed it up. Just recently, a couple days ago, a referee made a black wrestler cut his hair right before his wrestling match. Literally, like, right as the match was about to start. The referee made this black wrestler cut his hair. I also remember, to follow up this question, seeing, you know, articles on how certain people in the medical profession are going to be discriminated against, especially with wearing dreads. They have like a little thing now where they banning dreads from certain medical industries. What is it about black people's hair and wearing dreads that make certain professions or people discriminate against them?
In 1968, Muhammad Ali was one of the first entertainers and sports figures, all right, to take a pick and actually pick his hair out on TV. 1968, you probably wasn't born. I was. 1968, America watched people get their head blown off in the Vietnam War because they broadcast it right into the American home. 1968, the Afro was popular. 1968, James Brown said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." 1968, Sly and the Family Stone had the first integrated band. 1968, the Vietnam War. 1968, protests was going on all over the country. All right? So when you study the science, and not the science, but the politics of hair, it goes back. It's the metaphysical, I want to say, on the metaphysical tip, the whole idea of cutting your hair is cutting your strength. You understand what I'm saying? The whole idea of the politics of hair and what it means to us. The whole idea of looking, I'm looking at, and I'm doing this interview, and I'm looking at a Buddha right now with twists in his hair, symbolizing a certain tribe, symbolizing a certain bloodline, symbolizing a certain culture. You understand what I'm saying? If you look at black women today in certain cultures in Africa, all right, they twist their hair and they cornrow their hair into certain patterns. The sisters during slavery used to put the mat, braid their hair according to what mat they were going to use to escape. So it's a whole deep science, and white people in their psyche know this. They know the strength and the power of our hair. They know the strength and the power of our native tongue. They know the strength and the power of nonverbal communication. They know when we put the black power fist in the air, they know it's on and popping. And they fear us genetically on a genetic level. You understand what I'm saying? So they know the strength of the hair, and they want to humiliate us. I went to the United States military when I was a teenager. That's the first thing they do is cut your hair. They don't want you to have a personality. Everybody's just like on the assembly line. Everybody look alike. Because it's our cultural identity once you grow your hair out. They were saying they was calling me a new nigga. Because of the texture of my hair. My dad was a Blackfoot Native American. And everybody thought I was Ethiopian or Eritrean. And I'm like, no, I was born in New York. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the reality of it, man. And they understand that. But the brother wanted it so bad, he cut his hair, man. You understand what I'm saying? Because the brother was sending a signal to the rest of the players, look, this grows back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
It reminded me of Tupac, the rose that grew from the concrete, man. You can't stop that bum rush. You can't stop that. Our hair's going to gravitate towards the sun because that's just who and what we are.
Powerful. Anytime I listen to you, brother, I always learn something. And I hope the people that is going to watch this video do the same thing if they never heard you speak before. I hope they learned something today because, you displayed a lot of positive information that is, meant to be heard. And
give thanks. I really appreciate that. A lot of people keep forgetting, man. I came from the same hood, same ghetto as y'all. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't getting nobody's there. Well, I did get my degree online, but when I was coming up, I ain't have letters behind my name and degrees and that kind of thing. I came up to school of hard knocks like you. But one thing about me, I always kept a book in my hand. And now I'm sitting in front of 1,000 books in my library. You understand? Because I didn't rely on my enemy to educate me.
Definitely.
Anyway,
you
appreciate you, man.
You have an app, and I want you to promote your app. I know you have an app that you just launched. I downloaded the app the other day. Do you want to tell the people the app and what they should do?
Yeah, basically, they can Google the Serious Minds app. They could go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download the app. And we're developing the app so we can communicate with one another in case they decide to shut your show down and my show down on YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? We'll still be able to have this show. All right? But there's developers out there that we should be doing this anyway, right or wrong.
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with a black YouTube. There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with a black Netflix. Right?
Totally right.
All right, man. I got to get out of here. And I really appreciate you, good brother. Send me the interview. Send me a link so I can check it out. We'll go from there, man.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for taking time out your schedule.
Respect.
And have a good show tonight. I'll definitely tune in.
Oh, give thanks. Respect, man.
All right, brother. All right, that was our interview with Professor Griff. Definitely download his app at Serious Minds, his app right there. And to close out this show, I'm going to give you real quick my NBA Christmas Day reactions. All right, so yesterday the games was on. Obviously, you know Christmas every year we have 5 games. You know that basically we watch because we sports fans and we love basketball like I do. LeBron James injures his groin last night in the Lakers' rout of the Warriors. All right, and is set to miss a few games. So I'm gonna give my reactions before I give my reactions to the game on LeBron James' injury. So we all know about LeBron James. We all know, he's sort of called Iron Man. He doesn't get hurt. He's from another planet. We don't even know who the hell his father is. But he normally doesn't get hurt. All right? We normally see LeBron James. If he falls on the floor, he's going to get right back up. We don't make a big deal out of it. And I don't even think this injury is something to make a big deal out of. It's just that, when LeBron James do go down and, he does leave a game via injury, we all seem to get worried. It's covered by everybody, all the sports shows and this and that, because we just don't expect LeBron James to get hurt. But obviously he got hurt in the game yesterday, and he had to go. And like I said, there's reports that he may miss a few games as he's out day to day. So my reactions is I know the Lakers is going to struggle without him because he makes the engine go. He makes that Lakers train go. But with a game that they played last night, defeating the Warriors 127-101, Rajon Rondo, he played good. And one thing about Rajon Rondo is that he's always reliable. We all know that Rajon Rondo is going to come through when he needs to, when his numbers is called, because he is a smart point guard. He is a smart point guard. His IQ is straight out of this world. And there's a thing that we know of known as playoff Rondo, a guy that during playoff time, his IQ was going to burn you. It's going to make you think. So he came in. He initially did good. The Warriors tried to close the gap in the game. Obviously, they brought the game down to 3 points. I believe it was 76-73 at one point in the third quarter. But when Rajon Rondo came in, he did his thing, and the Lakers was able to not only hold on, but to blow up that lead again and move on. So going forward, Rajon Rondo, I believe, is going to start. All right, I don't believe Lonzo Ball is going to start. I know I've been hard on Lonzo Ball in the past if you watch my radio shows because, he was beefed up to be better than Curry and all this. And so I expected a lot. If the expectations is high on the guy, I'm going to, my expectation for him is going to be high. And last season, he didn't live up to that expectation. He fulfilled a lot of people's needs, but that's because, a lot of people are mediocre. And, they like mediocrity. So I had to see more from Lonzo. I'm seeing an improved Lonzo this year. I'm seeing a Lonzo that is knocking down big shots when he need to. So I give him credit for that. And, I do believe the talent is there. I do believe that the more Lonzo get experience, the more Lonzo is going to be better because the talent is there. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe that Rajon Rondo needs to start now that LeBron James is out because that veteran leadership that Rajon Rondo brings to the team, and not only that, his skills. He's shooting better from the three-point line as of the last 2 seasons, which is good because a lot of players, when they veterans now, they regress. They don't improve. So he improved on his three-point shooting, and I just believe the Lakers, they're better off starting Rajon Rondo as LeBron James continue to get healthy. I don't know how long LeBron James is going to be out, but the Lakers, listen, one man down, the saying goes, one man, the next man up. They got to do what they got to do in order to compete in a tough Western Conference because right now the Nuggets is playing good. OKC is still a factor. All these teams. All right, we all know about the Warriors. The Rockets just finally woke up this season. So Rajon Rondo needs to be starting, and that's my reactions to the Lakers versus the Warriors. Now, on the Warriors side, real quick, this is just another game that they just botched, obviously. We shouldn't be worried. It's the Warriors. They got 5 All-Stars starting on their team, one of the most, if not the biggest death lineup in history. They're going to be fine. We shouldn't worry about this game just because they lost to the Lakers 127-101. We don't need to be worried about them. Boogie has yet to come on the court. And when he do, that's it. So the Warriors are fine. This is a game that the Lakers must it was more important to them because it shows that they can somewhat compete against the Warriors, because I'm not going to sit here and play homie the fool like they're going to actually beat them. It's not going to happen. The Lakers are a team that can actually compete in the Western Conference. And to be honest with you, they're doing better than I expected and that I projected them. I do project them as a playoff team, but right now they're playing better than what I projected. Uncle Drew, Kyrie Irving, saves the Celtics last night with his clutch performance as the Celtics defeated the 76ers 121-114 in overtime. What should we take away from this game? And I'm going to tell you right now, what we should take away from this game, if we didn't take it already, which we should have, is that Kyrie Irving is one of the clutchest basketball players in the league. Yes, he's not always healthy. Yes, he's injury prone. Yes, we can, criticize him for showing up and then not showing up. But one thing we cannot discredit about Kyrie is that he's one of the clutchest basketball players in the league. He is. He made big money shots in the finals, all right, when Cleveland beat that 73-win team, Warriors team, when he made that clutch three-point shot over Stephen Curry's face. We seen it on a Christmas Day game against the Warriors, and we seen it other times, and we seen it last night. Kyrie he just has that it factor. He's a guy, and I maintain this up to this day, that if he was playing on that Celtics team last year in the playoffs in that Game 7 against Cleveland, they would have won. Because you saw in that game how in big moments like that, you relying on rookies, Kyrie Irving would have been there, had no shame with the ball being in his hand, and he would have did something with it. So I maintain that up to this day. But Kyrie Irving, he shows y'all that he is clutch, and he has ice in his veins, and he's not scared to take the big money shot, because some players in the NBA, you can't say the same thing. They like a deer in the headlights when it comes to that. But Kyrie Irving, he's not afraid of that big moment. I personally believe the 76ers blew this game. They had an opportunity to win this game, and they blew it. Ben Simmons needs to develop that shot, especially if he's going to be, especially if he's going to have the ball late in the fourth quarter of these games. He's going to have to develop that shot, because at the end of the day, you're making your offense more predictable. We know you can't shoot, so we're not even going to guard you from the three. We might as well just leave you be in the three-point line. Leave you there by yourself. Go ahead, brother, shoot that shot. You're being predictable. So Ben Simmons, he needs to develop that shot at some point in his industrious career that he's going to have. He has to develop that shot. Otherwise, it's going to mess up the 76ers, obviously. But they had an opportunity to win the game. They blew it. Jimmy Butler, I think he led all scorers on the team. Embiid, we all know what Embiid could do. Obviously, Embiid is their best player in my opinion. But they got to do something with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons got to work on that shot. All right? We're not going to move the brother to the bench. I heard somebody talking earlier that he should be on the bench. I don't think we should move him to the bench. But at the same time, he's going to have to figure it out, because I do believe that he's valuable and he could get his players open, sort of like how LeBron James do. I always said that if LeBron James looked in the mirror, he would see Ben Simmons. It's just that Ben Simmons don't got that shot. And if he develops that, he'll be that guy. So they need to do that. And, hopefully they could take away from this game that they can actually compete against the Celtics. Because more than likely, you're going to have to get past the Celtics to get to the finals. Them along with the Raptors. The Bucks is good. All those teams in the East. So they got to win games like this, especially when you have a chance to win it. So that's my reactions to the Celtics and 76ers. It was a good game, but Kyrie Irving, once again, pulling up. Jimmy Butler couldn't stop the cat. Jimmy Butler could not stop Kyrie Irving, as he was 5 for 8 on Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter, or 5 for 7 rather, when Jimmy Butler was guarding him in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler, who's an elite defender, didn't have no answers for the brother. That's how you know Kyrie Irving is clutch. So we'll see if that Celtics team that we have so much high expectations for continue to win big games like this and actually get better than what we projected them to be, because, they struggled a little bit. Gordon Hayward still doesn't have his feet wet. He needs to calm down, We all know he had a big injury, but he has to take a deep breath, all right? Musa, Musa, and be able to just get back into the feel of the game because we all know Gordon Hayward has potential. We all know what he brings to the table. But obviously, we're not seeing that because I do believe it's the mental aspect of it coming from an injury like that. But moving on real quick, the Rockets also won on Christmas Day. They defeated the Thunder 113-109 in a very good game. And my biggest takeaway from this game is Harden's performance and Westbrook's poor performance. Westbrook is struggling a little bit. He only scored 21 points, which for a lot of guys you would say that's a good game. But for the caliber of player that Russell Westbrook is, 21 points, 6 turnovers, 2 of 6 from the three-point line, 61% of shooting on the year. Free throws, right? Shooting free throws, he's 61%. He actually regressed, all right? 24% on the year from the three-point line. He got to play better. Now, I know on my two episodes ago, a lot of people got on me because of what I said about Russell Westbrook, about stat padding and how that's not an achievement. And, to some degree, I backed down on it a little bit because I do like Russell Westbrook hard. Let's not underestimate that. I do believe Russell Westbrook wants it. He's a guy, he attacks the basket like the basket took his girlfriend back in the day. He attacks it. So I do love his aggressiveness. I do, however, believe that in the past he was a stat padder. But this year, statistics has shown that he leads in the league in assists. So to some degree, he's fighting back my argument. But he has to do other things right. He has to improve his free throw percentage. He cannot be shooting 61% from the free throw line when you're going to be on there more because you drive into the basket. You're going to get fouled. So you got to make those shots. Now I do believe the Thunder, their offense works better when PG-13 is playing rated R. All right? Like I said, their offense work better when PG-13 is playing rated R. When he has the ball, when the ball runs through him, he has to be the number one guy on OKC in order for them to have a chance to compete against the Warriors, in my honest opinion. But this year, PG-13, he's having a good year compared to the experimental year, being on that OKC squad, he was struggling. I do believe that, in the beginning, I believed that was a bad move. He should have went to LA because I didn't believe he would fit well with Russell Westbrook. But sometimes, when you and the person get along, as Westbrook and PG-13 do, you have more patience to make it work because you actually like the person instead of not liking the person and we don't fit well together. Oh, I'm out of here. They actually wanted to make it work and they're friends, so they have more patience to make it work, and it's starting to work. And PG-13 is starting to get his, and he's not being isolated. So I do believe that experiment right there is a good experiment, and I do believe that they are one of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. I'm not going to put them over the Nuggets because I do believe the Nuggets has an all-around better team. I won't say an all-around better team because you do have all-stars on the Thunder and PG-13 and Russell Westbrook. But they just play a better team game, in my opinion, the Nuggets. And that's why I put them ahead of the OKC Thunder. You can even argue the Rockets, but the Rockets, we all know about their defensive efficiencies, and they can't even guard a fly. So, depending on how you look at it, that's what I think. But those are some of my reactions to the Christmas Day games that took place yesterday. Obviously, the Bucks won. We all knew that was going to happen. The Knicks, we too busy looking in 2019, the free agency market, and over there, we trying to get a free agent. We don't even care. But we all know the Bucks was going to win. We should have known that. Giannis is my MVP for this year, for this season. This guy is a Greek freak for a reason. He's doing his thing. He made that one-handed dunk where I don't even know. I couldn't even try that on on 2K or something like that. I mean that was different right there. So he's a freak of nature, and watch out for the Bucks. They doing better than my expectation too. Yeah, that's another team right there. Watch out for them. To cap off Christmas Day, we had the Trailblazers and the Jazz, in which the Jazz actually showed up. They woke up finally because we all know about Donovan Mitchell. We all know about Rudy Gobert, him being the defensive juggernaut that he is. They struggled this year. And to their defense, normally I will not defend a team that's struggling, but to their defense, the one instance where I would give them some leeway is the fact that they schedule. They have so many road games against so many good teams this year. It's not even funny. They only had, 15 home games this year, something to that effect. It's crazy. So today, credit, they have a tough schedule. But at the end of the day, there is no excuses. You got to do what you got to do, no matter who you play. So them getting that victory last night, that should be a confidence builder, and they should be able to do what they got to do going forward and actually be that team that we thought was probably going to be the second best team in the Western Conference projections, doing projections before the season started. So they got to get it together, and I do believe this is a start, and they got to continue getting it together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give y'all my final statement before I close this episode, and this final statement is going to be called Toxic or Truth. In parentheses, the coach killer. Ladies and gentlemen, you know me. LeBron James is one of the faces of the NBA. He's one of the faces of people who have sports shows, podcasts, and radio shows because he's just that great. We all know LeBron James. One of the best players to ever play the game. Some will argue he is. I won't go that far. I think MJ still has something to say about that. But there's some people that, believe it or not, actually believe LeBron James is the GOAT. I believe he's the GOAT right now in this current NBA generation. But nevertheless, my thing is, Durant recently did an interview in which he described LeBron James, being around LeBron James and playing with LeBron James as being a toxic situation. He had a lot of backlash towards it. LeBron James did an interview with Rachel Nichols about it. And there's a lot of people that's bashing the brother KD. Now, we all know I believe KD is a sensitive guy, one of the sensitive people ever made. Probably he's a lot more sensitive than a lot of females out here. I mean, the brother is sensitive. But I actually do agree sort of with what KD has to say, and this is why. Like I said, LeBron James, don't get me wrong. A lot of guys should want to play with LeBron James because he is that great. He's a walking ticket to the NBA Finals each year. However, with regards to coaches, right? Head coaches that got fired, coach of LeBron James, Mike Brown, David Blatt, and mind you, David Blatt, he had the number 1 seed. The team that he was coaching, the Cavaliers, when LeBron James and Kyrie was on, they had the number 1 seed that season. They just came from a finals appearance, and they had the number 1 seed. And he still got fired. I mean, damn. You think you would have the number 1 seed as a coach, you would think your job is secured. Other plans. And LeBron James obviously had a lot to do with it because nobody is going to make moves without telling LeBron James because he's just that powerful. So we could sit here and say that's the owner who didn't know. It was LeBron James because LeBron James he's basically the player, the general manager, the coach, the cheerleader, the bench warmer at the same time. That's what LeBron James is. So Mike Brown, David Blatt, all these cats got fired under LeBron James, right? Tyronn Lue last year, even though he didn't get fired, it was one point the brother had to miss games because he was having nightmares. And I'm pretty sure I knew why he was having nightmares. It's because he know Coach LeBron James is not easy. The high expectation is out the roof. And that's probably why the brother was having nightmares. Literally can't sleep. All right? Because he thought he was going to get the hammer like MC Hammer. He thought it was going to be it. Right? LeBron James even got coaches that didn't even coach him fired. After losing against him. Michael Curry, after a 4-0 loss in the playoffs in 2009. Vinny Del Negro, after a 4-1 loss in 2010. Jim Bolin, after a 4-0 loss in 2013. Tom Thibodeau, after a 4-2 loss in 2015. Dwayne Casey, obviously the oppositional coach on the Raptors, he got fired after losing to LeBron James. So you may say, all right, that's the other team, but he still get coaches fired, regardless if they coaching him or playing or coaching against him. He's a coach's nightmare. Basically, he's a coach killer, in my opinion, right? So don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's a lot of LeBron James fans out here. I know it is. Y'all probably like, oh, we need to crucify this brother. Hold your horses real quick. Don't get me wrong. LeBron James is the best player in the world. and is one of the best to ever do it. LeBron James may be a franchise's savior, but he damn sure is a coach's nightmare. You see what's going on with Luke Walton. I see his face on the court. The brother is worried. All right, Magic Johnson had a talk with his brother. All right, so therefore, he's what I call the coach killer. And that concludes the Real Leel Show, this episode 8. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and we be back, y'all.